You're holding your baby close, their head tucked just under your chin, the tiny body warm and soft against your chest. Maybe they're crying, or maybe they're just fussing, and you pull them in a little tighter, hoping the pressure and the rhythm of your heartbeat will be the thing that finally settles them. It feels instinctive, like the most natural thing in the world. And for a long time, we all thought that was the whole story. That a hug was just a hug. A simple comfort that we offer to soothe our child. It is that. But I had no idea about the invisible storm that a single hug actually sets off inside a baby's brain. A storm that might explain a lot more than just why they calm down. There's a study from a few years ago that completely changed how I see this moment. And what it found. It might make you want to hold them a little closer. So here's what researchers at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Ohio discovered. They published their work in the journal Current Biology back in 2017, led by a researcher named Dr. Natalie Matra. They used a special type of brain scan called EEG to measure brain activity in premature and full-term infants while they were being held. And they weren't just looking at whether the babies calmed down, they were watching the actual electrical signals firing in response to that gentle pressure. The main finding is deceptively simple. When a caregiver holds a baby, the brain releases a flood of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and simultaneously dials down the stress-related cortisol response. But here's the sneaky condition. This soothing effect didn't happen automatically. It was dependent on the baby's state before the hold. If the infant was already calm and content, the hug didn't produce the same dramatic neural shift. The biggest neurological change occurred when a baby was already in distress and the caregiver responded consistently. Now here's the counterintuitive part that flips the whole assumption. The study also showed that the brain's response to being held is bidirectional. It's not just that the hug calms the baby. The baby's nervous system is actively signaling to the parent's body through that physical contact, literally synchronizing their heart rates and breathing patterns. Your baby isn't just receiving comfort, they're co-regulating you both. It's a two-way street. So when you're holding a fussy infant and you feel your own shoulders drop, that's not just empathy. That's your baby's brain working on you, too. And this wasn't a one-off. A replication study from the University of London in 2020 using different methods found the exact same pattern. They measured skin conductance and heart rate variability and discovered that infants who received responsive holding during stressful moments returned to a baseline state nearly 40% faster than those who were soothed with voice or motion alone. The skin-to-skin or fabric-on-skin contact was the key variable. The science tells us this: we're not just making them feel better. We are literally shaping the architecture of their stress response system every time we hold them. And that's why I'm going to ask you, if you're getting something out of this, maybe tap the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Let's keep going. So what do you actually do with this? You don't need to overthink it. But there are a few small shifts that make all the difference. First, let the hug be a response, not a reflex. If your baby is content and playing on the floor, scooping them up for a squeeze isn't doing much for their stress system. That's fine, it's still lovely. But the real neurological payoff happens when you hold them in their moment of need. When they're crying or overtired or overstimulated, that's your window. That's when the oxytocin flood does its deepest work. Second, give them your full nervous system. Your baby is syncing to you. If you're distracted or tense while holding them, they feel that. So take 3 deep breaths before you pick them up. Let your own heart rate slow. You're not just soothing them. You're handing them a calm rhythm to borrow. Third, and this is the one most parents get wrong, don't hold them until they fall asleep and then sneak away. That's the old way. Instead, hold them until you feel their body soften, then release. Let them break it off. You'll notice your baby will often pull back slightly, or turn their head, or push against your chest. That's their signal that they've had enough regulation for now. Let them go. Then watch. They'll often turn back to you a moment later, reaching for you again. That's the rhythm. Offer, hold, release, return. And finally, if you're holding a baby who's still crying despite being in your arms, don't assume it's not working. The study showed that the neural calming effect happens internally before the crying stops externally. Your baby's brain is already changing in those moments. You're not failing. You're planting the seed of regulation, even if the harvest hasn't come yet. Just stay present and keep holding. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know this with my first. I held him plenty, but I held him on my schedule. When I thought he needed it, when I had a moment to sit down, when it felt convenient. I didn't realize I was missing the moments that actually mattered most to his developing brain. I wasn't responding to his need, I was offering comfort on my terms. And that's not a failure. It's just what most of us do until we know better. But here's the reframe. You're already holding your baby. You're already reaching for them when they cry. The only shift this science asks of you is to notice when and how. To let your baby lead. To trust that their tiny nervous system knows exactly what it needs, and that your arms are the tool it's looking for. So the next time your baby is fussing and you pull them into that familiar, warm hold, remember what's happening. That soft pressure on their back isn't just comfort. It's a signal. A signal that tells their brain to lower the alarm, to slow down the stress, to sync with you. And when they finally relax against your chest, you'll know they're not just calming down. They're learning what safety feels like, so they can carry it with them long after you put them down. And that image, your baby's head tucked under your chin, their breathing slowing, their little hand gripping your shirt, that's the moment. That's the one. We publish every week on the hidden world inside your baby's mind. If you want to keep understanding what's really going on in those quiet moments, hit subscribe.